Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Strength Club. All right, on this episode of the podcast, going to look at four videos. And as you're accustomed to, or just in case you're joining me for the first time, I'm going to hit play so you can see the thing, make a couple notes, we'll play the game, see if you can spot the kind of things I'm going to call out. When you've got that, hit play on the tape. Once you've hit pause, hit play, and then I'll tell you what I'm seeing. Hopefully, those things should start to line up. All right. Sometimes we will look at the most prioritized things, and I'll try to catch as much as I can. But generally, if there's a lot of work to be done, we go after the big stuff and then we go after the smaller things later on. Okay. So, yeah, I've got four videos for you. In case you've just seen me for the first time, my name is Byron Johnston. I'm a starting strength coach based here in the United Kingdom. And this is the Strength Club podcast. All right. Hope this helps you out. And if you're one of the lifters featured today, thanks for sending the videos. And we're going to start with Henry on his squat. Okay, so I've got the tape ready here. You guys get ready there. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit play. Here it comes. Okay, so there we have it. There's Henry's squat. You guys want to change anything? Or do you want to keep some things the same, make some changes? Henry, so I think you've sort of figured out squatting by yourself, and I don't think you've had an opportunity to get into some of the starting strength materials, okay? Because there's quite a number of things we'd probably just deal with straight away for you, and even including how the equipment is set as well. So I'm going to rattle off a list of things you can start changing right away. So first of all, when we're working with the barbell, squatting, you want to collar the barbell. Basically, we put collars on the barbell for all the lifts apart from the bench press. All right, that's a safety measure. So as you're learning something, and if ever, there's a chance to be a bit more unstable or unsure with something, we want to get collars on the bar. You don't really want those plates sliding around on you if you have a moment where you're a little bit more left than right as you come out of the rack. And Henry, because you're currently using I don't even know what the proper name for it is, but you've got like a foam pad on the barbell, right? It's right here as I point to it there. Because you're using that, you actually don't have good contact with the barbell because that object's in between you and it. So it's more likely that because that's a bit squidgy, that the thing will move around. So that will then promote like a plate slipping around on you. We don't really want any of those things. So my two first bits of advice, Henry, are get collars on your barbell. All right. Get rid of that pad. Okay. You probably have used that again because it's kind of keeping the bar from feeling weird or uncomfortable. It's unusual to have a bar on your back for the first time. And just know that even though your build is quite a light build and you're going to put that piece of metal on your back, if you get it in the right spot, Henry, a lot of these issues of discomfort or weirdness, they go away pretty quickly. Okay. So those are the first things. With your equipment, it's good that you're using safeties. I like that you've got these kind of safeties set here. You have got them a little too high up, all right? So when squatting, we want to come down to a certain depth, okay? Excuse me. And that depth means that the crease of your hip, Henry, where the top of your pockets are, is going to be below the height of the top of your knee as you look at you side on. And so if the safeties are too high in the equipment, they're actually going to stop you, going to literally stop you from coming down. So we want to make that adjustment to your equipment. See right here, I can see you're very close to it. I think you're actually maybe even contacting that kind of rope safety thing they've got here. But you're quite high. So that's blocking you now. So the next thing to do when you go into squat is to take this equipment here and just lower this down one or two settings so that you can get about another 3 or 4 inches deeper. All right. So now the equipment's set. Yes, I'd love you to get a pair of lifting shoes if you can, but I know these things have a cost to them. So see what you can do there. But we're going to start putting equipment on to the bar that's already in the gym, losing this piece of equipment here that you don't really need that. And what I want you to do to solve that problem, Henry, is I want you to put the bar a bit lower on your back. Now it's going to be a bit tricky at first because you're used to having that pad there, but I want the bar directly in contact with your body so you've got maximum force transmission going into that bar. Nothing soft and squidgy where the bar can move around or it's not feeling solidly in contact with you. Don't worry, I've got elderly people who are over the age of 70 working with the barbell directly on their back, and they're able to do it. So, Henry, I assure you, you're like probably in your 20s somewhere. I assure you, you can do it as well. Okay, so don't, you can lose that fear about that situation straight away. We specifically want the bar, Henry, to be under the spine of the scapula. All right. Now, that may not mean much to you. So, what you're going to do is get a look at the starting strength squat video. Right. Ideally, get the book, get it on Kindle, and you can start to see very clear images of where that bar goes on your back. That'd be my recommendation: is to drop a few bucks on that and get that book so you can really start to unpick this in a bit more detail. But if you can't do that, look at the tutorial video on YouTube for how to squat, because that will help show you where that bar goes. So your job is to get that bar lower on your back into that position. So you're going to research where that is so you can get into that position, okay? You're going to adjust the equipment as I've described. And you'll also notice as you start to watch that material that your stance will be adjusted as well. So your shoes need to be a little bit closer. So it's going to be more like your heels are under your armpits and your toes aren't going to be pointing straight ahead. They're going to be pointing slightly outwards, okay, at 30 degrees. So we've got lots of little things to tidy up for you. Henry, once you've done all those things, okay, in about 2 weeks of squatting 3 times a week, they're just going to be automatic. You'll know where the safeties go, you'll collar the bar, you'll take the right stance, you'll get the bar on your back. It will happen very quickly. So there's a lot of things there, but they are fast to tidy up. Okay. So once you've got that done, we're going to start thinking about how you should now move with the barbell in a proper fashion. All right. And when it comes to that, what you're going to do is you're going to look down at the floor. Okay. And you're going to aim to squat down lower, and you're going to need to lean over a bit more. Okay. You're coming in very upright. Your head's very upright. So what we want you to do, Henry, is to lean over more. And again, when you get into the blue book, what you'll see is an image of someone squatting down and shoving their knees out. Okay, so this is without the barbell. You can take that squat stance as I've described. You can just squat down. If you have a mirror side onto you, squat down all the way down and take the tip of your elbow and shove it inside of your knees and just push your knees out and come all the way down until the crease of your hip is just a bit lower than the top of the knee. All right. So you come down to that depth. Now look side on and look at how that looks in the mirror. You'll see that your back is more leaned over. I want your nose to be pointed down at the floor so it's looking here. All right, and get a good look in the mirror, Henry, side on of what that looks like. That's what I want you to do with the barbell. Okay, so you want to practice that a few times, get really familiar with this idea that you're going to lean over and look down and come down lower. Once you've got a feel for that at home or in the gym, only then put the bar on your back, empty bar, and just start to bring that movement in. You can film yourself side on, just start to get that movement and then start to load a little bit of light weight on and just start to work up maybe in jumps of, you can just, I'll leave it with you what you leap up to here. I can't really see what numbers you're on here. Red plates are normally 25 kg, but sometimes gyms are different on that, all right? So you might be working with about 70 kilos here. But initially, if you want to just come to put a pair of tens on, come to 40 kg, it's about 80 something pounds, and just kind of add from there carefully until you're back to this weight range if it looks proper. Okay, so Henry, there's quite a lot to do. You need to familiarize yourself with the setup of equipment and how you'll position yourself with the bar. And then you're going to start to work on the movement. And again, the setup is going to be fairly quickly. You'll have that done this week. All right. The movement's going to be a bit more fiddly because it's going to feel a bit unnatural to you, but you can get it. You will get it. All right. Now, I don't know where you're located, but I will say very, very quickly, if you are near a starting strength gym in your area or a starting strength coach, and you can find those on the directory. So you go to startingstrength.com, click on the directory, and it will show you where the map of where they all are. Coaches like me, Henry, can help you get into this position very, very quickly. All right, we can fix these things really fast. So if you are near one of those, see if you can get into one of those gyms, and we can tidy things up like this very, very quickly for you. Okay, I appreciate everyone. Sometimes people are working on a budget, but I do happen to know that so often the starting strength gyms will do you an introductory half an hour just to get you started. Okay, so they'll often do that as a complimentary, so they can often help you out with this still. sort of things pretty quick. All right. Anyway, so good luck with your training. That's what you need to do. There's quite a lot of corrections there. So it's just you get these stuck in, get hold of those materials, ideally get hold of the book, and then maybe put a video through. But excuse me, guys, they're very croaky. I'm turning into Rip. Oh God, it's slowly happening. I'm slowly turning into Rip. Next, it'll be the accent. So Henry, maybe put a video through in a few weeks' time, okay, if you haven't been able to get to one of the SS gyms. All right, there's your points from today. Okay, we're going to go and look at Nick now, and I'm going to hit play on this and possibly mute my microphone while I clear my throat, and you guys can watch this for a second. All right. All right, guys. So, hope you got your notes there. Here we go. We're going to go into Nick's notes now. All right, Nick. So, this is a bit of a tricky angle because we're kind of looking up at you. I don't mind the side angle. I'd prefer for squatting, generally the rear 45-degree angle is optimal and at hip height, okay? It looks to me, Nick, as you go to the bar here, that you're quite hunched over here, quite hinged from the hip to the shoulders as you get underneath it, okay? Um, and you don't look very tight in your upper body. So I think the hooks could be at the correct height. It should be so when you stand up against the bar, the bar should be about in the middle of your sternum. Okay, so you can just check that when you next go. In fact, that's where the bar is when you're getting ready to squat. When you stand up, it's correct. And what that means is you're just going to get yourself under the bar a bit more. So bend your knees a bit more so that you can get your upper body flat. All right, upper body in a straight line. You'll take a big breath, tighten up, and then you'll stand the bar up using your legs and then come out to your start position. Now, Nick, I'm saying this because I notice in your squat, you are getting really pushed down by the bar, right? So before you even squat, you're hinging. If we take you in a couple reps here, if I just wind on the tape there. So here you are in between reps, but look how you're really, really hinged over between your hips, right? Between your hips and the top of you. You look really, really hinged over just there, okay? And unfortunately, because the video is cutting you off a little bit, so guys, I can't see all of him either, so it sort of cuts you off in your upper body or by your head there. But I can see that you're quite hinged forwards. So, Nick, I need you to stand up a little bit taller, okay? Don't let the bar start to push you over. Stand up a bit taller. Your body needs to be in compression, not in moment too much when you're in that start position, all right? We want to be more in compression and we don't really want to introduce moment, the force of moment, the turning forces. You lean over and send your knees out. We don't want to introduce those forces until you're ready to go. Okay. So stand up a bit taller and I suspect you may have a mirror in front of you because as you're coming down, I can really see your eyes are really tracking forwards. Okay. And that leads you in the movement to introduce a slight problem. Okay, so Nick, what I want you to do is get yourself up a bit taller here, right? In a straight line, more in a straight line. Okay, you'll have much less of a hinge than this. But then point your nose down on the ground and look down at the floor. All right, so whatever this bright green thing is over here, stick that in front of you on the ground as a target to attract your eyes. I want you to look through your nose and keep your eyes rigorously down on that target. Okay, then you're going to come down, Nick. You're going to squat down and you're going to aim to squat about an inch or two lower. You're nearly there. You're at parallel. You're not an old guy, so I reckon I can get you down to depth. You're a young guy, so we should be able to get you down a bit lower. So here's the crease of the hip. Henry, if you're still watching, so there's the crease of the hip there, right? We want that down a couple inches. See where the tip of my cursor is. So there's the top of his knee over here. So the crease of the hip's just going to come just a bit lower by about another inch or so, Nick. And then your depth. So your depth is very nearly there. All right. Come down a bit lower there. All right. And you'll have great depth. Okay. And keep your eyes down. And as you drive up, you're going to push through the legs, okay? Stay leaned over. This thing with your eyes is kind of pulling your chest up as you come up. So keep your eyes down and shove your butt up in the air, okay? Try not to bring your chest up too soon, okay? So you want to drive through the legs, drive your hips. Don't let it's your back is not it's not its job to do this. It's your hips to drive up. Okay, so drive through the legs, shove your butt up in the air. You'll come up and then you'll stand a bit more upright as you get to the top at the last minute. Okay, that's what we're going to do in your squats, Nick, to help you out there. Okay, so it's generally it's looking good. We just want to tidy up a few things. You've got a little setup thing to do there. You've got a little bit of work to do in the movement. I think it's going to be just fine. All right, I don't think you need significant reloading of the weights. In fact, as you start to stand up taller and get this sort of sorted out and drive the hips more, staying at your existing weight might just start to feel actually a lot better. You'll find that ascending upwards from there weight-wise moves pretty well, okay? So Nick, that's your points. Okay, we're going to go on to Loretta. Now, you guys might remember Loretta in her squat from a few videos ago. So we saw Loretta before, and I give her some pointers and corrections, and she's written back to us. So what I will do is I'll read out Loretta's note before we play the tape. And she says, I made the recommendations from the March 17th assessment. So you guys, if you want to find that video, you know it's back in March. So she's got rid of the pad. Right, Henry, are you listening? There's a video for you to watch. Okay, got rid of the pad. She's not using any gloves. She's lowered the safety bar. And she's got herself some lifting shoes. Great. And this is a set of 3 sets of 5. And she's at 165 pounds here. So let's have a look at what Loretta's doing now. You guys can always compare this to the last videos we were working on. Let's hit play. Let's see what she gets up to. Okay. All right, Loretta, here we go. Here we go. Guys, you got some points? I hope you have. Let's see what we got here. All right, Loretta. So I'm very happy with the adjustments you made. All right. We're going to carry on with a few other pointers for you. So first of all, when you're unracking the bar, okay, I'm not very keen on this staggered stance. All right. Not in the press, not in the squat. I like feet to be close together evenly. Okay, stand the bar up and then walk it out from there. Okay. So Loretta, if you just want to go ahead and fix that stance unrack for me, I feel a lot better about that. Yeah, so feet sort of level with each other, take a breath in, stand the bar up, and then you come out from there. Okay, we'll just snag that one nice and early on. Okay, that matters as it gets heavy. We don't really want an uneven stance. All right, now, can you guys see where the bar is on her back, Loretta? It might still be, Loretta, a little bit high on the back. We ideally want it under the spine of the scapula, as I was discussing earlier. Okay, so get a good look at where that is, or in the materials, I mean. And then you can't see it when you do it, but on the hooks, what it will be like is you come up to the bar, deliberately put the bar too high on your shoulders, all right? And then squeeze your shoulders back together, Loretta, and then start to slide up against the bar. And what you'll notice is as your body slides up against the barbell, it naturally catches on the shelf of muscle that you create from squeezing your shoulders back together. So this is the key thing, right? You must squeeze your shoulders back together. All right. Now, with the pad that you used to use, that was less of an emphasis, wasn't it? Because the pad sort of did things for you. Whereas now you are really going to have to squeeze you into position because it's all you now controlling that bar. That pad that can't contribute anything now. So this is where your tightness in the upper body here really pays dividends. Okay. So squeeze your shoulders back together, slide up against the bar. It will naturally catch on that bit of muscle where it feels like it wants to sit on there. Okay. So we see if you can get it a touch lower than this, Loretta, okay? It's not going to be that much slower, a little bit lower, and we'll try to get that in for next time, okay? It might take a little bit of playing around with to get that, but that's what we want there. Now let's get you into the start position, okay? So you probably already know what I'm going to say because when we were looking at, I think it was Nick's video, I was looking at your eyes and I saw the same thing. So as she comes down, everyone, look at what happens to her head. Zone in on this area here as Loretta comes down. See if you can see it. There. Did you catch that? It's very subtle. Look again. I'm not going to go slow motion, but have a look at it. There. Did you see the eyes flip up? Did you see her eyelash kind of moved? And I can see the head tracking forwards, Loretta. Okay. So the plate now is in our way, but I'm fairly sure. And as she finishes, you see how the nose is kind of forwards here as well. So Loretta, you just obviously watched the last form check, so you already know what I'm going to say. Put something on the floor, point your nose at that, look at that, stay strictly looking at that object or at the floor if you can, but ideally a bright object usually attracts people's attention. Okay, right. So we want you to be looking down. Okay, now on your depth, I think. Excuse me. Oh, not again. I'm having another rip moment. Here we go. Ah! Um, I think your safeties, Loretta, need to be higher for you. Okay, I think those safeties are too low, so they need to be more kind of around here. So you're going to raise your safeties up. I can't quite tell the depth of the squat if I'll be honest with you, because I can't see where your knee is. I think you might be there, or if you're not, you're very, very close. Okay, but as you are working with heavy weights that are challenging, let's get the safeties where they need to be, which is going to be more like about here. All right, so if you have a problem, the bar doesn't have to go very far at all for you to be lifting safely and not stressed out about your lifting, okay? Squatting is stressful enough already, that's why we do it. But I'm talking about removing unnecessary stress, okay? All right, yeah, that one definitely came in short, Loretta. I saw it there. So again, just work on coming down just a little bit lower, just a little bit lower. You're very nearly there. See if you can get down just a fraction lower. But if even if you can't, well, I hope you can. But do get your safety set. Do get your right position fixed. Okay. Alrighty. So that's what we want to work on in your squats. I feel very squat heavy today, guys. Very squat heavy. We're going to do another squat. Just, guys, power clean, press, bench. Give me some variety here, okay? We can't live on squat alone, all right? Start to send me some videos that are not squat related, or I'm just going to prohibit squat videos for like 2 months so we can cleanse our palate. But you guys should be doing some power cleans as well, please. Everyone, power clean. Right, we're going to India. This is Nishant. And he says, Hi, I'm from India, 5'9", weighs 80 kilos. He's doing the linear progression since May. This May just gone. All right, so not very long. We're only just in July now. His squat started at 50 kg. In this video, I'm squatting 80 kg. I think my form is not consistent in terms of back angle and hip depth. So I'm reading out from my phone and hip depth. Thanks in advance for your help. All right, here we go. Ready with pens and paper. Start the tape. Whoa. That last rep, Nishant, didn't look very fun to me. That looked like you were not enjoying that. Okay. So, Nishant, when you squat down, again, as I said to the guys before, right, you got to watch where your safeties are, okay? Because you're starting to struggle on that rep, yeah? So, even if you ignore everything else I say about your form, okay, I hope you don't, but even if you do, your safeties need to be higher than that, okay? You need to have your safety about, you see where your elbow is? About there. All right, so in between that barbell and the safety is going to be about this sort of distance here, okay? It can't be any higher than that, Nishant, because you actually do need to come lower. So if you have the safety too high, you'll hit the safety before you come down to depth. So it won't be any higher than that. I think it's going to be around about this height here, okay? And so yes, you were concerned about your depth, and I've hit the pause on the tape here now because we've looked at it already. I feel I don't need to speak too much about it because you would have seen me discussing it when we were looking at the previous videos. So now we all know where the depth is. You can see that that's a little bit too high and that you do need to be down a few inches lower. Okay, you want to adjust your safeties up as well. Let's wind back to the beginning here and just get into this. All right. So first of all, Nishan, when you're going to the bar, right, we've talked about the rack positioning, but as you get underneath it, right, as you get underneath the bar, you need to be more serious with your breathing and you need to breathe down into your tummy. Okay, so it's not like a chesty breath like that. It's a big breath down into the tummy. Squeeze your shoulders together, so get really, really tight, and then stand the bar up. To me, you're not as tight as you could be and not as braced up as you could be. So even when you unrack the bar, you need to be braced firmly. Then you'll walk out into position here with your shoulders squeezed back together, the breath held in. You'll acquire your start position, and then you will exhale and inhale. So you'll reset the breath, tighten up again, and then you are ready to squat down. Okay. All right. So you're sort of doing it, but to me, I can hear that as you're doing it. And that sounds to me like you're kind of keeping the breath around your throat area. So you're breathing a bit into the chest. And then as I hear that kind of sound you made there, it tells me that you might more be in the throat. And actually, I want the breath down into the tummy. Okay. So tense up your abs hard. All right. Now, as you come down, excuse me, you are going to come down a bit lower. All right, so keep squatting down lower until you're into that position that we looked at on the last few videos. Okay, if in order to get down there, if you should need to lighten the load a little bit I would say about 5 kg should do it. It's fine. Then you just work back up from there. It won't take long at all. You'll be back there later that week. All right, but get yourself down to depth. And you retightening your shoulders is going to help you control that barbell because it is spinning a little bit at the moment. Okay. So just make sure you're tightening up around that bar with your shoulders so that it can't move around. We don't really want it spinning around on you. Okay. Now, I think you're doing a better job of like keeping your eyes down. All right, maybe there's a little bit of pulling up there. So where you're looking there, guys, we were talking about this earlier, that's kind of a good position. So you stay strict about keeping your nose and your eyes in that position there, Nishant. All right. Okay. I can hear when you start fighting for it, that's when you start pulling up a little bit there. But that's what happens on a very tired last rep. Okay. So a little reset, tidy up some of the form. And you were concerned about your back angle. I think generally speaking, you've got the right idea. You are leaning over. Let's just get you down a little bit lower and get that bar under control, okay? I think as you're getting tired, the form is slightly falling apart. But in the earlier reps, you did seem to have the concept of getting leaned over and getting your chest down here. All right, so just make sure you keep your eyes down, get a bit lower. All right, and then let's take a look at that in a few weeks' time when you've had those opportunities to work it. So if you need to do a little reset on weight to get that, I'm okay with that. Pull it back to 75 or 70, get that sorted, work back up. If your safeties are too low, they won't feel like they can support you, and you'll always hesitate about going down to depth in case you think to yourself, "Oh, I can't get back up. I'm going so low, I can't get back up." The last rep's becoming a struggle. So we need to fix these things so that you can lift safely, and it's not playing with your mind, because sometimes the mind can stop you from squatting down. If you know the safeties aren't quite there, if you don't have faith in it, it will cut that off sooner. Okay, so get these things dealt with that I've pointed out to you, Nishant, and you should, give it 4 to 8 weeks, and maybe pop another video in on your squatting, so we can have a look at that and see where you're at with it. Okay, so I'm not so worried about the weight as getting the form right and then moving up. Okay, I don't think you'll have to take very much off the bar at all. And guys, remember, one thing I will say, just as we're sort of wrapping up today, is remember, part of training isn't just the lifting, it's the eating as well. So we do have to make sure that nutrition is dialed in, because Nishan, if even if you had everything right in the form, the lifts at certain weights can still start to feel a bit nasty, a bit grisly, if you're not eating, if you're under eating. Okay, so you want to prioritize protein, gaining a little bit of weight, make sure you're recovering from training with nutrition and sleep, and that will help, because sometimes things can feel not good and performance can drop when the nutrition isn't quite there as well. Okay, so that's maybe something to pay attention to in the background, is we do need that to be right to help us recover from our training and to make that progress. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, I think that covers it for today on the main points. Thanks for everyone who sent videos in. I hope these pointers have been useful for you. I wish you well in your training. You can find me at Strength Revolution Coaching on Instagram. Please link up there and say hi. Maybe you can drop me a nice line on here when you see the video. And I hope the points were useful for you. Okay. So just leave me a thumbs up, like and share if you're able to do that on the podcast. That does help us out, get more of a reach with what we're doing. And I'll sign off for now. All the best in your training, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye for now.